Let me now invite Shri Prakash Singh, Indian Police Officer, IPS, and when he appeared for the exam for the Indian Police Services in UPSC, he was All India rank number 1. Sir was telling me that he did well in IPS, All India rank number 1, but wasn't a good student of geography though. But I think over the last 2 decades, everyone remembers Mr. Prakash Singh being the key architect of police reforms.
Mr. B.B. Singh, Dr. R.B. Singh, and learned authors, Mr. Siddharth and Dr. Mukherjee, distinguished ladies and gentlemen among the audience. First of all, I would like to felicitate Mr. Siddharth and Dr. Mukherjee for the tremendous contribution which they have made for a very voluminous, comprehensive and erudite dictionary which they have produced. And I'm sure this is going to be a valuable reference book to scholars pursuing different pursuits, including those who are sitting for competitive exams, and even otherwise. It's going to be a very valuable reference book, and even for a half literate in geography person like me who would like to know, who is at times confused about geographical terms, this is going to be a very useful reference book. I felicitate them for this tremendous contribution, for this voluminous work which they have produced. About geography, as I was thinking while driving down to this Constitution Club, I felt that geography as a subject is of tremendous significance, much more than literature or history or several other subjects. See, geography sometimes determines the course of history. You see, our location with Himalayas in the north and the Indian Ocean to the south, it has determined the course of Indian history. It prevented until the 60s any invasions from the Himalayas, and the coastline attracted people from Britain, from France, from Holland, from Portugal. They all came to India for trade. They settled, they established bases here. Of course, the British ultimately supplanted all of them and established their imperial hold in this country. So this geographical location determines the course of history. In fact, the discovery of USA could be also credited to India, because Columbus was so fascinated by India that he went out on the discovery of India. It's another matter that he landed in US and discovered US. So, one could go on giving examples like that. The geographical location and the geographical positioning, it determines the course of history. It also influences your strategic thinking. If you have a vast coastline, you have to have a formidable navy. There's no getting away from it. Then if you have as we have, a rogue nation to the west and a hostile neighbor to the north, that again determines the course of history. It is this fact which contributed to our 3 wars with Pakistan and the war with China, historical events. So the geographical factors determine the course of history, which is very, that adds to the tremendous significance of the subject. It also determines politics. See, as history is influenced, that shapes the course of political events. As I said, it affects your strategy. It shapes your strategic thinking, your calculations for defending the country, what kind of forces we need to defend the western frontiers, what kind of forces we need to defend the northern frontiers, what kind of defenses we need along the Myanmar border. All that is influenced by history. And if you look at from the police point of view, it affects the pattern of crime also. To give one example, we are situated as we are in South Asia. We are sandwiched in a way between the Golden Crescent and the Golden Triangle countries. And that ensures that there is a vast movement of drug trafficking on a big scale across the Indian subcontinent. It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. Until a few years back, it used to be a huge problem in Manipur. Today, it is a huge problem in Punjab, and to a lesser extent, in fact, across the country, this menace has spread. We used to congratulate ourselves by saying that no, India is only a transit country for drug trafficking. But now it is a consumer country in a big way. I remember some time back, we were recruiting Sikh youth from Punjab, and we had difficulty in getting Sikh youth with the required chest measurement. सीना ही उनका अब नहीं है, इतना ड्रग खाते खाते ये हालत हो गई कि अब सीना भी नहीं दे पा रहे हैं कि हम सिपाही भर्ती हो जाएं. That is the curse of drugs in Punjab. So geography influences us in multifarious ways. Climate change, that again, climate change, where you are on the map, that determines the kind of climate that you live in, and that is a very potent factor which affects your style of life, your living, your diet, your clothing. Everything is influenced by climate, and climate is determined by your geographical location. So geography as a subject is of huge importance. It determines the course, it influences history, it influences politics, it influences climate, it influences your way of life, it influences the pattern of crime. It affects us in multiple ways, in diverse ways, and there is no getting away from understanding the importance and the significance of history. To that extent, I would say a compendium on geography, a dictionary of geography is going to add to our knowledge, and I'm sure the young generation is particularly going to benefit by it, but even others who are interested in and who need at times to understand peculiar geographical terms, this dictionary is going to be a very valuable reference point, and I congratulate Mr. Siddharth and Dr. Mukherjee for having produced what is an excellent work. Thank you.